On your feet! Get them going!
Oh, I need to do my stretches. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. I'm not a pastor, priest, rabbi, theologian, or a particularly well-educated man. I'm just a guy on the internet spouting my opinions about things and stuff and holding fast to that which is true. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're not new, please hit that like and make sure you're subscribed button. Welcome, Dark Admiral March here. Ahoy, Tina Tomazowski. I don't have my banner. Did I not have my banner on yesterday? My cross examinations, my little thing and my stuff? Oh my gosh. Bad Mike. Bad Mike. Devil's Air. What's up? Hello, you gun cross loving eagles. How is America? America's just fine and dandy. Thank you very much. Getting better every day, as far as I can tell. We're going through some ups and downs, like I did yesterday in the earthquake. Did anybody? No earthquake. I had a pretty good earthquake here yesterday. I think I talked about it yesterday. It's what woke us up, got us out of bed at bright and early at 10:30 in the morning. Actually, it only got me out of bed. Everybody else just went back to sleep. I think it was 10:30. It's a Mike. What's up, Joe? It's a Joe. What's up? Today, earthquakes are scary. Not really. I mean, I guess if you're from another state and you've never experienced an earthquake, they're scary. For here, we're just like, oh, that's a long one. Don't spill your coffee. I wonder what that was. Or I wonder where it's centralized. I still don't have all the information on where that earthquake hit exactly. I guess I'm just not that interested. It's so. I mean, it's been a long time since we had a really good earthquake. The last one was, let's see, JoJo is 15 now, and he was just a baby. So just about 15 years ago was the last big earthquake we had down here. And man, we were in the backyard at my wife's cousin's house in Brawley. And I think the earthquake was in like Mexicali or something like that, which was pretty close to Brawley. And we were in the backyard by the pool, and the pool was just, you see the photos of the skyscraper pool, like it's like, except the water's like falling out off the side of the building. That's what it was like, the pool in the backyard at my cousin's house. Just it was crazy. That was much bigger than this one. Or maybe we're just closer to the epicenter. Prior to that, the next big quake I was in the Bay Area quake in 1989, the Battle of the Bay. Remember the Battle of the Bay quake? So there was for those of you who aren't from California or don't care about these things, there was an earthquake during a what do you call it? Not the playoffs. You know, when you got two baseball teams and they're in a final round of games for like winning some sort of award. I don't remember. I don't know what it's called. I don't care about baseball. But it was the A's and the Giants were playing World Series. Thank you, Dark Admiral. I didn't even see that. It came to my mind before I read it. So it was the A's versus the Giants in the World Series. And it was during a game that this earthquake hit. And it was, wow. I was outside at my neighbor's door, Lonnie Beaver. That's her name. Don't blame me. I was at the door and she wasn't home, and I was about to walk back, and everything, cars were just doing, shutters were like slamming open and close, and it was crazy. That was a big one, and I think it was a 6.9 they figured out. And then I went in the house and like a bag of something heavy had fallen on my car and dented my hood. All bunch of the dishes were like out of the cabinets, just freaking on the floor and stuff, and just that was a big one. And then prior to that, that was 1989. Prior to that was probably 1980. Whose class was I in? It was probably 83 or 84. I was in class in middle school, and we had a big one that just like someone came in from outside, and because I was inside the classroom, so it was just duck and cover, get under your desk. And then someone was out on the field, and he said they saw the field and it looked like a wave. I'm like, really? Did it really though? Did it? Do you think you can actually? I mean, it'd be kind of cool if it did, but that was well, I don't want to say it was fun. Earthquakes to me, they're I've been through some big ones. So I remember, if I remember correctly, it was Candlestick Park that got hit. Well, I mean, the entire Bay Area got hit. The Bay Bridge cracked in half. I remember seeing in the newspaper the next day there was a part of I think it was the 880 interchange broke and just fell on top of this Volvo. And it was like this, it was like, I don't even know how many tons of cement that is, but the Volvo was like this thick. It's like you had the back of the Volvo, and then it like this thing, and then it was like just on the ground, and the rest of the Volvo, it was just pancaked, literally like this thick. Bunch of people died. That was a big one. I remember the videos of like when the Bay Bridge collapsed, and then like the people were driving and they just drove right off the bridge. Yeah, that was the big quake. That was the big quake, and it was like it was eight. No, that was it 89? I think it was 89. What year was the Battle of the Bay earthquake? Yeah, 1989. 1989. Correct. This is the year I graduated high school. I went to school with a friend named Lonnie Mead, but my friend Lonnie is a guy. Yeah, Lonnie Beaver. She was I think a grade older than me. It was so funny that she ended up living next to my mom. Her mom moved in next to my mom. And just the cutest little thing. She's the one that convinced me not to get a mohawk. when I was younger than that, I was like 16, and I was growing my hair out. My mom comes in, she's like, "You'll get haircut today, or you're not come home." So I was gonna go get a mohawk because I was a rebellious teenager, And so I was gonna I went in to the place where Lonnie worked. It was a haircut. I guess you'd call it a salon. I should have just gone to a Supercuts. And I went in, and Lonnie was the whatever, call it, lady at the front desk. And I was like, "I'm gonna get a mohawk." She's like, "Oh no!" And Lonnie was cute as a button. So this swayed me a little bit. "No, Mike, you can't. You're too cute for that. You can't do that." Blah blah blah. And then like all the other girls in there, "Oh no, you can't do that." I'm like, "Okay, I won't." All my punk rock attitude went right out the door because gaggle of cute girls told me not to come shave my head. All right. So, anyways, enough of my silliness. Why is this called the atheist illusion? Gullible, Mike. It's not gullible. What are you talking about? Maybe a pushover, but you're 16 years old. Bunch of cute girls tell you not to shave your head. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Come on. So it's called the Atheist Illusion because I was thinking about what I was saying. I think it was yesterday. Nah, I totally get it, Mike. The weakness of man, woman or boobs depends on the situation. I get it. Can't blame you, Mike. Yeah. So, anyways, so the game you ultimately, I think today you'd probably call a faux hawk, where you cut the sides real short, right? That it wasn't like shaved, and then the left like probably about this much on top, and just left that long. And I came home, and my mom couldn't argue with me because I did get a haircut, but she goes, "Stupid." That's my mom. I mean, I ended up in Eastern Ukraine for a girl, so I won't judge. Every man understands. Do you mean a mullet? No, because my hair was long in the front. It was long all the way. It was the same length. So it'd be what you'd call a faux hawk later in the 2000s or something like that. People started getting faux hawks because they didn't want to commit to the mohawk. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. I did want to commit to it, but I was very easily convinced not to by pretty girls. Man. See, that's what I should have done. I should have ignored. I shouldn't have gone to the salon. I should have gone to a friend who had clippers and just done it in my garage like I did to Zeike. Not Zeike. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Zeitz. Joe Zeitz. So Joe Zeitz, he was this Christian kid that hung out with us. I mean, he was Christian as in his parents were Christian, and he wanted to hang out with us skaters and punkers and stuff like that, but he was a Christian kid. And so I convinced him, bro, you should get a Charlie Brown. It's not like we're shaving your head. You still have, you know what Charlie Brown is? It's when you shave all of your head except for your bangs. It was a fairly popular skater hairdo in the 80s. And so I had clippers. And we're like, yeah, we're going to shave him. So we shaved his head, gave him a Charlie Brown. He's like super stoked because now he's got a skater haircut. His dad did not approve. He came back the next day like super bummed out, completely bald. His dad shaved his bangs off. I'm like, great, Dad. Now you made your son a skinhead. How do you like that? Oh, Joe. And then Joe went full on rebellion against his very strict father. See, that's one of the things. Like, I don't. If my kids want to dye their hair or cut weird hair, I'm not gonna be like, no, you're blah blah blah. And maybe I learned that because of how strict Joe's dad was. But he completely rebelled. He went off the deep end. He ended up, I don't know what he looks like now, but last time I saw him, he had freaking dreads tattooed everywhere. Freaking, I think he owns a pot. Actually, I think he might be a tattoo artist. He's a tattoo artist, I think. And totally like pothead, atheist, as far as I know, all that stuff. So he went right off the other way. Apostate exam says, currently I'm in my rebellion phase. Tattoos are gay, and not tattoos. They blur. They turn into mush. I got a tattoo when I was 18. It's on my shoulder. It looks like absolute crap now. It's just. Joe said, I had long hair down to my waist. My mother even defended me against the high school principal. Hey, there you go. In the late 80s, I think I had what you're calling a faux hawk. It was the 80s, big hair and lots of hairspray. My hair was long and shaved on the sides, puffy on top and long. I thought it was cool. The 80s, the 80s were A very, very bad fashion choice on a lot of different angles. Which I think it's funny that people think that Jason Momoa's character in the Minecraft movie is gay, like from the commercials and stuff. And you go watch the movie, and it's like, no, he's not gay. He's just stuck in 1989. And when you look at, okay, I grew up in California in the 80s. We had the maximum neon hairspray, freaking Oakley glasses, crop tops on boys, the whole 9 yards, the parachute, the neon, weird pattern parachute pants and everything. We had everything. California in the 80s. And I look at Jason Momoa's character, I'm like, that dude is straight out of 1989, including the hairband haircut, where the hairbands would grow their hair out really long, but yet cut their bangs. I always hated the look. I always hated most of that's why I was a punker. I was well, not a punker. I was in the punk scene, but I had my own. I wore trench coats, army jackets, black leather jackets, a lot of black. I even had a pair of pants that I took that were, and I got this from a little a punk rock postcard from England. This punk rocker had a pair of pants that was half jeans, half camo, and I'm like, I want that. And so I went and I got a pair of jeans and a pair of camo pants, and I cut them in half and I sewed them together. I was like, ugh. Then you have like the safety pins just like all up the side of your, like 2,000 safety pins running up the side of your pants, that type of thing. That was and then studs. You go to the leather store, you buy studs, you put studs on everything. Freaking rad. Man, that was fun. The rebellion against that stupid neon, no offense, Tina, hairspray, all this, the crazy stuff in the fashion sense of the 80s versus the freaking punk scene. The punk scene is still so much cooler than all of that goofy stuff people did. But that's what that guy was doing. And the hairband stuff, I hated the look of all these friggin' I hated it then. I hate it now. But I see that in Minecraft, Jason Momoa's character, that's totally what he's playing. That is his bit. It doesn't look, he's not gay. He doesn't act gay. It's like he's just so stuck in 1989 glory that he's never moved away from it. Jean jackets with back patches. Yep. I had an army jacket with a British flag sewn on the back because, so much of punk rock was from Britain, Sex Pistols and actually I listened to I was really into ska too, so I listened to a lot of Madness and Bad Manners and stuff, and and I loved the Beatles before that. Before I even went into my punk-ish phase, I was a huge Beatles fan. So I loved England, and so I put an English flag on the back of my jacket. Sounds like you were not very social, probably socially awkward. Oh no, everybody loved me. I was a social butterfly. One of my cheerleader friends told me. Yeah, I was like friends. All over the place. I was friends with the jocks. I was friends with some of the nerds, the cheerleaders, the preppies. Yes, we had preppies. It was the 80s. We had preppies. Actually, I think he was a preppy, but he ended up hanging out with us, Derek, and he ended up. How many of you guys are Christians? How many of you guys know the clothing brand Ezekiel clothing? Any of you guys know that brand? My friend Derek and his buddy founded that company. and then sold it to another company. And then Derek went on to start buynow.com, which got bought out by buy.com. So he like sold, he like developed companies and sells them. So he's like a billionaire. He's freaking did fantastic. But you never heard of Ezekiel Clothing? Really? Yeah, I don't know who bought it. Like the Gap or somebody bought out Ezekiel. But yeah, obviously it's named after. I didn't even know he was a Christian. I'll be honest with you. But he was. That's the funny thing. That's like none of my Christian friends like tried to talk to us about Christianity. I think Sam was a Christian too. But I only think Sam was a Christian because I went over to his house and he had a Striper poster on his wall. And I'm like, who listens to Striper except Christians? So I could be wrong, but playing football wearing Doc Marten boots. I didn't wear the steel-toed boots. I love creepers. You guys know what creepers are? They're made by Nana, who also I think Doc Marten might have bought out Nana, because the creepers you buy now all have Doc Marten soles. But they're like they're the pointy shoes. Oh, man, creepers are so dope. I wouldn't mind having a pair of creepers now. Most gals want to dress like Madonna. So like a whore. Punk is a symptom of society decay. Well, and that's the funny thing, because is the atheist illusion a reference to previous fashion trends? I'm sorry. I've been chasing the squirrels this whole stream. So the atheist illusion, I was thinking about the remember yesterday or the day before I was talking about, or not the day before, Friday, one or the other. I was talking about that the design in the universe, everywhere in the universe, is evidence of a God, right? Maybe not the God of the Bible specifically, but the God design, the great designer, and that the illusion of evidence, or the illusion of design, is what materialist atheists claim. They say it's the illusion of the design because what an illusion is something that appears to be real but is not real. So because the atheist refuses to acknowledge that the thing they're seeing appears to be real, they call it an illusion. So it's the illusion of design, when 95% of the world looks at it and goes, that's evidence of design. You're calling it illusion because you reject that it's designed. But it's obviously designed to pretty much anybody who looks at it, except for that handful of materialist atheists who refuse to acknowledge the God, a God, any God. So that led me to think about atheism, and how I'm always making the point that atheism isn't logical or rational. Agnosticism is the logical, rational, I don't know position on that. So really, atheism is an illusion in itself, because they are convincing themselves that the unreal, the impossible, is rational. So that's the illusion of atheism, because they know they don't know, but they have deluded or illuded. I don't know if that's a word. They've deluded themselves into believing that this is all possible without the God. So that's kind of how I was just thinking about this in the shower. And I was like, it's the atheist illusion, isn't it? It's they live in this world where what they see so conflicts with their determinate belief. And it is not That's the thing. It's like, no, I just don't believe in your God. No, the question is, do you believe in God? No, but that doesn't mean I don't believe. It literally does. There's when you believe something or you don't believe something. Right? And if you're in that, oh, okay, you believe something, you don't believe something, in the middle is agnosticism. You can't say I don't believe and then I don't know. I mean, I guess you can't say you don't believe and you don't know, but I don't know is the logical thing. I don't believe takes it a step beyond the logical into the irrational. So to claim, if you're claiming to be a rational, logical person who is not convinced of a God, then the only logical, rational position to take is I don't know. To say I don't know, I don't believe. I don't believe is a statement of faith. I believe is a statement of faith. I don't believe is a statement of faith. Agnosticism is a statement of ignorance, which I'm not in the bad term, not in the bad sense of the word ignorance. Not that it's just used wrong. Ignorance is used incorrectly very often. So. And everybody just still wants to. Pistola says atheism equals belief in no gods. Right. No God or gods, which is thus a belief that all that illusion of design is actually an illusion and not evidence of design. Which it flies in the face of what you see in front of your eyes. That's literally, you're going to believe my atheism or you're going to believe what's in front of your eyes. The illusion of design is evidence of design. So whenever you hear a scientist say this, oh, it's blah, 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 but this is the illusion of design. Yes, I'm certain. Yes, it absolutely, positively, 1000% looks like this was designed. But don't let your eyes fool you. This all came about by random, meaningless chance. No God was necessary in the creation of every perfectly designed thing in the universe. No, sir, that's just an illusion of design. Fine, say you don't know. Great. You don't. I grew up saying I don't know. I was raised agnostic. Perfectly fine. Perfectly rational. Perfectly logical. But if you don't know, what does that stick you? I think, maybe that's the thing. When you say atheist instead of agnostic, you stick yourself in a category of there's no God, therefore I don't have to look for one. The truth is there's no God. I no longer need to seek the truth of that question. When you are an agnostic, you say, I don't know. That leaves you sort of necessarily wondering. You can say you can't know, but that's a statement of belief too. So if you're truly agnostic, where you acknowledge that you don't know, you're left with the begging question. What must I do to find out? Right? What must I do to find out? I don't know. And maybe that's how I ended up going from agnostic to Christian, because I have a curious mind, which is why I'm always delving into these squirrels and stuff that you guys, some of it might sound crazy, but it's like, all right, someone believes a thing. I'm curious why that person believes a thing and what led that person to believe that thing, because everybody has every position, every belief, every tinfoil hat thing. There's opposite sides of belief, right? I know why the general public believes or doesn't believe a thing, because I have the general public information. But if there is that esoteric information that may be true that the general public isn't privy to, that once someone believes in it, it's like medicine, right? Most people think Western medicine is the best medicine in the blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I talked to a friend who's a medical doctor, and I said, in your 12 years it took you to get your PhD, how long did you spend on nutrition to become a medical doctor? He said 2 weeks. 2 weeks. What is more important to the sustenance and maintenance of good health than nutrition? And to get a PhD in medical science to become a medical doctor to treat human beings, you get 2 weeks of nutrition? Nutrition should be at least a year out of that entire 12 years. It should be probably more. Nutrition is the cause of... okay, I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I'm not going to do my nutrition diatribe. But, right, that's... so the general population thinks doctors all know what they're talking about and ignore nutrition as what actually freaking keeps you healthy, right? Doctors don't give you how do I say it? When I get started on this topic, I don't generally try to go too long, and I don't want to do that. So, you know what I'm saying? The general public believes a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily true, but it's just what the zeitgeist has imposed upon us. And so the esoteric may sound like tinfoil hat stuff very often, but that doesn't negate its truth. So that, for me, is what makes me curious when somebody believes something that's just a little weird. It makes me curious to discover why they believe it. What is the evidence there that has convinced them that this strange esoteric truth, I know I said esoteric like 4 times already, why they take the position that they do. And so that's my mind. I'm very curious about that stuff. The atheist is incurious. He has taken a position that there is no God, and he is incurious about whether or not he's wrong. He's just firm in a conviction, and that is an emotional position to take, not a rational, logical one. That, more or less, is the atheist delusion. The more accurate description would probably be apathism. Apatheism, being apathetic. Fair enough. Is this whole spiel just going to misrepresent what atheism and agnosticism are? No, I'm just speaking general truths. I don't care about your dictionary definitions. I'm just telling you general realities, general truths. If you want to get pedantic about freaking labels, this is not the stream to do it in. It totally doesn't look designed. Okay, that's why they call it the illusion of design, isn't it? You guys are going to Muslim hell. Well, that's where Allah is, so I'll avoid it. Oh no, Allah's not in Muslim hell, but he's going to Christian hell. And actually kind of make decent pets. What? I am an agnostic atheist. Well, you should get rid of the atheist part, because that's just closing your mind, right? Are you curious about truth, or do you just want to state you just don't want to believe in God? Because those are your options. You're curious about whether or not it's true, or you just don't want to believe in God. And not wanting to, that's a want. That is a desire. That is emotional. You have an emotional reason for not wanting to believe in God. What that is, I don't. That's between you and God. I'm sure something tragic happened to you in your youth, and you lost your faith because you were probably raised Christian. Nailing on head. Ba, ba, ba. Da, 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 da. Opossums, Mike. Tina and I are talking about opossums. What am I here for then? He's just sharing what he thinks. You don't have to accept what he's saying. Present an argument about it. He'd love to hear your views. I'm sure of it. Absolutely. Yeah. Give me an argument. I love arguments. That's what I'm here for. Tina says most Western medicine is basically a band-aid. Most meds actually don't heal. They just help you feel better for a moment. They want us to be sick. They are banking on it. I know. I'm fighting very hard not to go into a half an hour spiel on it. So, and the complexity in creation's design makes theism a rational choice. That's correct. That is 100% correct. So you either have, and I'm again, the design and creation doesn't necessitate the God of the Bible. I understand that, but I'm not talking about Christian versus atheism. I'm just saying theism versus atheism, as in there's a great creator, a great and powerful Oz. Not Oz. A great and powerful intelligence that could design deoxyribonucleic acid to contain more information than the entire Library of Congress in something so microscopic that even if you had a cell under a microscope, you still wouldn't see the DNA because the DNA is so much smaller than the cell that it's submicroscopic. And every single cell in our body contains that much information. And random, meaningless chance just did that out of nothing, for nothing, with no purpose, no reason, no motivation, no direction, nothing created something so complex that the human mind, our brightest, greatest human mind today, couldn't even fathom of how to create it using all of our technology and intelligence. But, bang some rocks together and throw some electricity in there and DNA. And yes, I'm reducing it down to a very inaccurate version of the belief of abiogenesis and evolution. But that's functionally, that's all you get. That's all you get. All right, let's get to Job, shall we? I know I put it here somewhere. I know I got my Job here somewhere. Where did I put my Job? By Job? Where is it? Nope, that's not it. Dang it. Nope. There she blows. I found it. All right. Now I lost my StreamYard. Share screen. There we go. All right. Job at 34. Oh, brother. Brooklyn Lou. Why do you jump in right when I start reading the Bible? Atheism is dumb, says Larry. Why in the world do you continue to lie and say atheists believe something comes from nothing? It's not that an atheist position anywhere in the world. Okay, Brooklyn Lou. Materialist atheist. I told you last time, when I say atheist, I'm generally saying materialist atheist. That's not lying. And I clarified that when we spoke in person. When I say atheist, that's what I mean. Materialist atheist. Because I don't believe agnostic atheism is rational. Actually, I don't think atheism at all is rational, but that's another point. Yes, that doesn't mean all, but all do, but some do, which means it's not a lie. Which, Brooklyn, you calling me a liar is very freaking rude. because you know that I'm not. All right, Job 34, translated, deepest meaning. All righty, let's go. Yes, they do, Brooklyn Lou. Or they're the Eternalists, which doesn't make any sense either. He just said he was being hyperbolic less than 2 minutes ago. I know. Alrighty. Oh wait, Job 32. No, we already did 32. Where's my 34? Let's go all the way to the bottom. Scroll back up. Here's all the different words and what they mean, and then here it is in readable text. All right. Eternalism has its own set of problems. No atheist I know believes the universe came from nothing. Okay. All right, well, let's skip that. How about abiogenesis? Life came from nothing. Life came from random chemistry and electricity creating life. Frankenstein is a more believable story, because at least there you had some biological material to start with. All right, there we go. One. Then Elihu lifted his voice again, saying, "Hear my words, you wise ones. Bend your ears, you who know. To the truth I unfold before you. For the ear tests words as the palate savors food. Let us weigh speech rightly, discerning its flavor with care. Let us choose justice together, probe what is good, seeking the straight path with open minds." Wow, Job is speaking to you atheists right now. Be curious. Seek the truth. When you reject that there's a God outright and you close your mind, you are no longer in a search for truth. You are in a search for excuses why you can maintain that ludicrous worldview. Let us choose justice together. Probe what is good, seeing straight path with open minds. For Job has said, I am righteous, clean in my stand. Yet God has stripped my right, bending justice from my grasp. Shall I lie against my truth? He cries. My wound festers without cause, an arrow deep, though I am free of sin. What man is like Job, drinking scorn like water, gulping mockery as if it were his daily stream? He walks with evildoers, treads paths with the wicked, his steps mingling with those who spurn the right. For he dares say, no profit comes to man from pleasing God. Righteousness reaps no gain before the Almighty. Ooh. So hear me, men of heart. Far be it from God to do evil, from the Almighty to twist justice's line. For he repays man's deeds, each act returned in kind, every path met with its due reward. Surely God does not pervert. His justice stands firm. The Almighty bends no right, his balance ever true. Who entrusted him with the earth? Who set the world under his sway, if not himself alone? If he turned his heart, withdrawing his spirit and breath, all flesh would perish as one. Man crumbling back to dust, life snuffed out in a moment's pause. And I said this yesterday. Man, the root word for man actually means earth. Interesting, huh? I like in Latin or something like that. I know I did an etymology of it yesterday or the day before. So earth crumbling back to earth. Life snuffed out in a moment's pause. If you have insight, hear this. Let my voice pierce your soul with its weight. Could a hater of justice govern? Would you condemn the righteous mighty one whose rule upholds the stars? He who says to kings, worthless, to nobles, wicked, his verdict spares no crown. He favors no prince above the poor. His eyes see both as one, each shaped by his hand's equal craft. In a moment they die. At midnight they stagger. People quake and pass, the mighty swept off. no hand to stay them. For his eyes rest on man's ways, no step escapes, no path hides from his gaze. No darkness cloaks the wicked, no shadow shields evil's work from his piercing light. He sets no time for man to face him, yet none approach his court unjudged, his verdict sure. He shatters the mighty with no inquiry, raising others in their place, his will a mystery beyond our probe. Thus he knows their deeds, by night he overturns them, crushing pride beneath his unseen hand. Hashtag parties of sin. He strikes them as wicked in plain sight, a spectacle where all may see, their ruin a sign, for they turned from his way, heedless of his paths, their hearts straying far from his call. They let the poor's cry reach him, a plea of the lowly stirred his ear, demanding justice's rise. When he grants quiet, who dares condemn? When he hides his face, who can behold him? Whether nation or man, his silence rules supreme. Lest the godless reign, lest snares trap the people, his hand holds back the hypocrite's crown. Has any said to God, I bear my guilt, I will sin no more, my fault owned before you. Teach me what I cannot see. If I have done wrong, I will cease, my heart open to your light. Shall he repay you as deem fit? How shall he repay as you deem fit? Because you spurn his way? You must choose, not I. Speak then, what do you know? Men of understanding will say to me, his heart who hears, wise hearts, man, I was almost there. Wise hearts who hear my voice. Job speaks without knowledge, agnostic. His words lack wisdom, adrift from truth's anchor. Oh, that Job were tested to the end, his answers echo evil men, defying right with reckless tongue. For he heaps sin upon sin, rebellion crowns his guilt. He claps hands among us, his words piling high against God's throne. I think Elihu, it's funny because in general, he doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes, behind the curtains. But I mean, in general, you can't really argue too much with what he's saying, right? But he says, I'd be curious to see where Job could consistently be shown to actually be talking about the literal cosmological shape of the planet. Job's a book that's entirely written in poetic prose. What are you talking about? Job is also promoting a flat earth? Okay. Frankenstein is also more believable than Adam and Eve. Oh, what a brilliant retort. Maybe he believes aliens did it. Back to Job, man. Yeah, so I feel like Eliyahu is he's speaking in general truths. He just, you know what? That's kind of goes back to what I was saying. In general, he would be right to think and say all these things, but Job has specific information, as in he knows he didn't do any of the things that he's being blamed for. He has esoteric beliefs. His beliefs are true. Elihu's beliefs are generally reasonable, but are wrong in relation to Job. Job holds the actual truth, even though the world doesn't see it. Actually, it kind of very much relays what we were talking about earlier. Interesting. Joe's fasting this week. Good. Eliyahu is the only man not corrected anywhere in the book. His remarks against Job are never once recognized as not being correct. God, when he answers Job, only condemns Job's 3 friends. Yeah, so you're kind of agreeing with me, right? He's generally correct, but but he's not correct in relation to Job, right? because of Job's very unique and particular circumstance, that he is not guilty of all of this stuff, right? But in general, all right. Mike, are you going to watch the movie King of Kings by Angel Studios? You mean like go see it in theater? I don't know. Honestly, those two movies that I went and saw, A Working Man and Minecraft, the only two movies I've seen in a theater in a very, very long time. And I went and saw Working Man because I wanted to support Chuck, and I went to see Minecraft because it was an event that all of my kids wanted to go to. So outside of that, I generally just haven't been going to the theaters at all. I already read that. Homo is Latin, so man is probably Proto-Indo-European. Homo, same man. Okay. DJ says, to be fair, atheists believe all things always were, or that everything came from something outside of our universe. The only alternative is that it all came from nothing. None of these contradict atheism. Yeah, they come up with the dumbest stuff. Like one of the arguments for how this universe and its illusion of design exists is that somewhere out there in the great cosmic mystery, there's a universe printer creating multiverse after multiverse after multiverse, most of them incapable of supporting life. But in this one particular universe that we happen to find ourselves in, all of the exact improbabilities of reality that coalesce into a universe that seems so much like it's designed by a creator happen by the mere chance of the randomness of the multiverse printer. However you want to phrase it. I don't even care how you want to phrase it. It's so freaking dumb. You're so desperate to say there's no God that you'll come up with dumb crap like that and believe it. And believe it. That's why the claim that there is no God, that's the Bible says. The fool in his heart says there is no God. When you make that claim, and you are making a claim, atheism is not a claim. Yes, it is. You're claiming there is no God. That's what atheism is. I don't know. We go back and forth into this with freaking Lou. But it's the opposite of the claim that there's a God. You either believe there's a God or you don't believe there's a God. And then you have the agnostic position. But you're taking the atheist position, which is the belief that there's no God. I don't know if there's a God, but I believe there's no God. Okay, you believe there's no God then. Hello, Grok Comics. Who made the universe printer? I don't freaking know. I mean, it's just such a... They come up... It's like in evolution when they came up with the hopeful monster theory. At some point, somebody realized, holy crap, you know what? There's just not enough time in the universe, never mind the age of the Earth, for evolution to have spawned, for evolution to have worked through natural selection, right? So they came up with this theory called, I don't even know if it's called punctuated equilibrium and hopeful monsters. So like a lizard or a dinosaur will just like lay an egg, and out of the egg will pop Archaeopteryx or some entire other creature, and hope that creature hopes that it can survive. I know a lot of these theories get rejected over time because at some point people realize that theory is really, really stupid. But there's a time people believe this stuff. There's a time people believe this stuff because they're so desperate to reject God, they will believe the most ludicrous ideas possible. The fool in his heart says there's no God. And it's evidenced by the stupid stuff you guys will believe in order to reject belief in God. Just say you're agnostic. Just hop on the logical train. And then, I know, that's what you don't want to do. Because when you just say you're an agnostic, and I'm going to repeat myself, when you just say you're agnostic, that opens you up to, if you're in the slightest bit curious to find out the truth, you'll actually start seeking the truth. When you take the absolute position of atheism, then you don't care about the truth. You're letting yourself off the hook of caring about the truth. And then you get so desperate, like emotionally, that you feel the need to spread your misery, because misery loves company. Who plugged the printer in and pressed the copy button? I don't know. Xenu made the printer, says Joe. The correctors in Job are Elihu and God. Oh my gosh, that remember Elihu, the name is so similar to well, I guess a lot of the names start with L. I think I was thinking of Eleazar. But I think it's in Abraham's story, Eleazar sort of takes, he's sort of like a figure of the Holy Spirit in the Abraham story. I think it's Eleazar, right? His like the guy who was going to inherit all of Abraham's stuff if he didn't have a son. Was it Eliezer? Am I right? Ooh, I wonder what does Elihu mean? L I, one who is like who? What's who mean in what is who in what does who mean in Hebrew? Who means he or it, and is a third person singular pronoun used to refer to a male subject or an object. Oops. So it means he is high. He is my. Basically, it means he is my God. Elihu means he. Thanks, buddy. You figured it out as fast as I could figure it out. Except I have a 15-second or a 13-second head start on you, so you figured it out faster. Restart to install the latest Windows update. Not now. Peace off, Ghost. I think it's 234. Let's do 436. Okay. Okay, thank you. Elihu's annoyed at Job justifying himself rather than God. His complaint against the three is that they didn't refute Job, but still condemned him and thus made his words justified outside of God's justifications. Believing there is no God is like saying a kid-friendly PDF file or a vegetarian. Self-contradicting. That never occurred to me that several of these characters' names start with L, so that implies they are men of renown or lordship. L is like God, elevated. It can also mean my God. It means high, elevated, or can also mean my God. So Elihu's, he is my God. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He is my God. Okay, then are they intended to be godly men? Who? Sorry, the people with the name El? I mean, like Elijah is the Lord is my God, right? The Lord Jehovah, Yahweh, Yahweh. Oh, dang, we're over an hour already. All right, well, that was good. That was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I was going to say learn something, but I don't want to be presumptuous. El Salvador, the Salvador. Oh, does that mean the Savior? Is that what Salvador means? Savior? I don't speak Spanish, so. A lot of metaphor and jokes, so I guess the names were chosen intentionally. Very, very, very possible. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. God bless you, everybody, and we'll see you all on the next exciting episode of Cross Examinations.